Okay, so we are back at it again. So, continuing with our last video, introduction to selection programming or writing selection pseudocodes, right? And remember, selection is a particular programming construct which allows us to do a particular action based on a particular condition. Okay, now what we want to do is to create a pseudocode that takes in a number from a user, checks to see if that number is even, and if it's even, output odd. Otherwise, no, if it's even, sorry, that's my bad. If it's even, output even, and if it is not even, output odd. Now, how would we check if a number is even? So that is where we are going to learn about this operator. This is known as a modulus operator, right? It's one of the arithmetic operators known in programming. And what this modulus operator does is gives us back the remainder of a number after it is divided by another number. So let's do an example. Let's say I was to say 5 modulus 2. 5 modulus 2 will give us back 1. The reason being is because 5 divided by 2 will give us back, sorry, will give us back 2, but leave us with a remainder of 1. And when we say 5 modulus 2, what we are looking for is only the remainder. Let's try another one. 6 modulus 2. All right, so pause the video and see if we can figure this out. All right, so 6 modulus 2 will actually give us back 0, right? Because 6 modulus 2 leaves 6 divided by 2 leaves no remainder. So 6 modulus 2 will leave us with 0. What about 7 modulus 2? What would that leave us with? 1. Because 7 divided by 2 will give us back 3 with a remainder of 1. So 3 times 2 is 6, and we add 1 to get the 7. All right, so it cannot divide evenly into 7. Okay? Now, any number that is modulus by 2, once that result is equal to 0, the number is even. So take, for example, 6 modulus 2 is equal to 0. That means that the number 6 is even. 5 modulus 2 is equal to 1. So that would mean the number 5 is not even. And a number that is not even will be considered odd. All right? And 7 modulus 2, since it's equal to 1, that means 7 is not even, but it's odd. But if we were to say 4 modulus 2, we will get back a 0. So therefore, 4 is an even number because 4 modulus 2 is equal to 0. Or I could say 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2 with no remainder. All right? So any number that could evenly divided by 2, once you get the modulus of that number and get it back as 0, that means that number is even. So any number mod 2, once the result is 0, we will get back an even number. Okay, so instead of using the percentage symbol as the modulus operator, we could also say something like 5 mod 2, and it will be the same thing as saying 5 modulus 2. All right, so sometimes in pseudocode, we use the word mod instead of modulus, but 5 modulus 2, right? 5 mod 2 will still be 1. 4 mod 2 will be 0, and 3 mod 2 will be 1. Right? So you guys can take notes of that. Let's move on to our actual problem. So the problem is write a pseudocode that gets a number from a user and displays even if the number is even or odd, or display odd if otherwise. Okay, so remember, when we are creating a pseudocode, the first thing we need to specify is the name of our algorithm. So we say algorithm, and let's name this even numbers, right? So the name of our algorithm will be even numbers. Now we need to specify our variables. Now, similar to before, we only require to get one number from the user. So we only require one variable to store that number entered by the user. So I'm going to name this variable num, and this number will be storing an integer, right? So we say num as integer. Next, we actually have to now start our pseudocode. So we say begin. First thing we want to do is actually get the number. So we say read num. This will get the number from the user and store it inside our variable num. Next, we need to create our if function or if statement. So we say if num mod 2 is equal to 0, and if you're paying attention to the last video, you'll remember that this equal sign, to equal sign operator, right, is used to check if this, right, is equal to whatever we specify right after. All right, so this will return true if num mod 2 is equal to 0, and it will return false if num mod 2 is not equal to 0. So if it is equal to 0, right, we want to print out that the number is even. So let's print out even. Otherwise, when we say else here, we want to print out odd. Okay? And then remember, we always need to end our if statement. All right, so we're saying if num, and I'm going to just make this bold. So if num mod 2 is equal to 0, this is our condition here. If this is equal to 0, that means num is even, as discussed before, right? So we print out even. Otherwise, if this statement turns out to be false, we print out odd. Okay? And lastly, we have to end our entire pseudocode. So this is something you have to practice a good bit to get a fair understanding of it. But as we continue with pseudocode, we'll get more familiar with it and be able to write better pseudocodes. All right?